WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at 107.3 FM, W297CL, Levittown.
This is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show, a weekly broadcast that breaks down each Eagles game better than anyone else. The Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show is broadcasting live from the Great American Pub in Conshohocken and is heard on both 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM and is brought to you by SEPTA, Fogo de Show, the Great American Pub, Independence Blue Cross, and Grand Café L'Aquila. We now go live to the Great American Pub in Conshohocken for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Now, here are your hosts.
We're here at the beautiful Great American Pub in Conshohocken. Great show tonight. We have some friends with us from the Department of Environmental Protection of the state of Pennsylvania. They weren't protecting the environment too well yesterday. Somebody didn't, as the 49ers kind of ruined the environment and everything else around here. Paul Domowitch is my co-host. Domo, we're here on an unpleasant Monday, but our job it is. How are you?
Good, doing well, Jolly. Doing much better than the Eagles right now.
Better than the Eagles, correct. We have a guest who's doing great also. He's a guy that was an Eagle linebacker in the 70s, the one-arm bandit we called him. He's defeated cancer. He's defeated many things. He's from Delaware. He is a guy that I spent many years in the booth for WISP and WIP doing the Eagle games. Mr. Kevin Reilly. Kevin, how are you today?
Jolly glad to be with you and Damo again, and just like old times.
Sure
Buddy, we're going to get something positive, Damo, before we get to the obvious negatives, and there's a lot of those to go around today.
We don't do positive.
We don't do positives, but we'll do this one. Kevin has a trip this weekend to the Midwest, kind of the Midwest, not to Dallas where the Eagles are playing, but to Brookings, South Dakota. Why don't you explain why, Kev?
Well, my Villanova Wildcats were fortunate enough to be in the tournament. We were ranked 8th, so we got a bye, which got us healthy, and then we had to play Youngstown State, Ron Jaworski's old team, and they're a very good team. We caught them on a bad day, I think, and beat them pretty handily to move on to the next phase, which will be the quarterfinals
of 1AA playoffs.
Yep, FCS 1AA playoffs, and that the team we'll be facing is the number 1 seed, South Dakota State. Lucky us.
Dallas Goddard School, huh?
Yeah. Yes, and we played them 7 years ago. They beat us 10-7. And guess who scored the only touchdown for the South Dakota
Take a wild
State?
guess and say it's Dallas Goddard.
You
Dallas
might be right, Domo. Yeah.
And they scored on a field goal with less than a minute left to go, and that was the way that it went. And they went on to win the entire thing. So they're they look better than they've ever looked. It's going to be a really tough task for us. But you know what? We got a fighter's chance. This is one of the most talented teams with a number of talented people, depth-wise, that I've ever seen at Villanova.
Well, we wish good luck to Villanova. Good luck against South Dakota State and Dallas Goddard, who may have an old friend joining him this week. Zach Ertz will be brought into the mix at some point. Damo, yesterday 42-19. Red zone didn't work in the first quarter, 2 field goals, and after that, forget about it, 6 consecutive touchdowns. Defense who couldn't tackle. Nicholas Morrow, who probably something beyond that. I mean, it's just a brutal performance by this team. The layoff, to me, had nothing to do with it. The San Francisco's 10 days off had nothing to do with it. If you look at it that way, to me, you're missing the point of this game. The question is that it comes to Eagle fans, and I'll ask you right away, was this a scheduled loss in the gauntlet of impossible games, or is it something to really worry about?
I think it's something to worry about. I mean, I think San Francisco might be the best team in the NFL. And they're going to be – I mean, you look for a weakness on that team. They're hard to find.
You're not kidding.
You know, and you look at the Eagles, and you don't have to look very far for a weakness. You just look at their defense. So, it's – I mean, they were the better team for Sunday. That's all we know right now. But going forward, it would concern me. They've got to bounce back, and they've got to beat Dallas this week.
Kevin, you're getting up there in age now. You have one arm, but I'm not saying that Nick Sirianni would not want you back at your old position of linebacker after that performance yesterday. Today, the Eagles signed Shaq Leonard, formerly Darius Leonard from the Indianapolis Colts. Hopefully he'll be in uniform and ready for Sunday. but the linebacking situation is, you fill in the blank.
Well, it's down to almost a third-string status, I think. I think it's the biggest problem that we have right now. They are just not able to shed blocks and scrape and make tackles. They've got the linemen in front of them that are taking on double teams and, holding people at the line of scrimmage. It's not like they're getting blown back into their, chest and their hips and stuff. And they don't read well. It's amazing in watching some of the replays yesterday how they were, they just weren't following things real quickly. That means to me, you're not watching enough
I thought
film.
they were following things well. After they missed a tackle, they followed the Niners right to the end zone on most plays.
Yeah. And they don't tackle. They don't tackle well. Yeah. They didn't tackle well. Man. And you're looking for guys. And I'll use Berge as an example. He was one of a kind of a guy that you came across there, and if he got a shot at you, even from the side, he was taking you backwards. Or at least sideways, and not, you're not going to pick up on a couple extra yards.
Tom, I got a question for you about that. I think it's a good point by Kevin. Is tackling an attitude, or is the physicality of the game something that you just have to have in you? Because Eagles were awful yesterday tackling. Anybody can miss a tackle now and then. You're going to miss them every Sunday. But is this something for the Eagles to really worry about, of physicality, or was it a one-off, in your opinion?
They're not a great tackling team.
Seth Joyner, I guess, last week whipped Darius Slay today.
Yeah.
Among other things.
They're not a great tackling team. They've not been this bad. But, they haven't faced players as good as Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey who don't go down easily. But, it's something to worry about. They're I think the problem at linebacker is magnified by the problem around them. Both of the corners are struggling. They're very inconsistent. They're kind of starting to show their age. In the back end, even with Kevin Byard, the communication is just, you saw Blankenship on that red zone touchdown. I mean, his eyes are in the backfield. The guy sneaks behind him. I don't know if it was Deebo. I can't remember who caught the pass. But he just didn't see him. And so, it's things like, it's just the whole back seven right now is a mess.
You talk about, is it, as Jolly said, is it the desire to make the tackle or the technique?
Well, when you played, what was it more, the desire or the physicality? Obviously, it's got to be both, but what's it more of?
The desire. Yeah. The desire to make the tackle, even though when it's going to hurt. And that goes with the same thing like busting the wedge back in the day. Boy, you just know it was like a small automobile accident. You had to throw your body in there to knock two guys down. Well, but, when Blankenship starts making bad tackles, he was a good tackler. If
That's
he had
what he
anything.
is.
Yeah, and he missed them. He just didn't wrap up yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a terrible performance on all counts. The question is, can we expect this going forward? Kevin, Mike Tyson said the immortal words. We used Wayne Gretzky's quote last week. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Mike Tyson said everybody in the world's got a strategy until you get punched in the face. Sure. Well, the Niners landed the left jab, the right hook, and maybe an overhand right on top of that. Going into Dallas, if you're Nick Sirianni, where do you start?
Well, I think you're absolutely right, and I think that the straw that broke the camel's back was when it was 21-14 and Morrow misses the tackle that would have, was a third down. And he had the guy. He bounced off him, and the guy goes for a touchdown. I think that broke their back. And Jolly, you'll take this as an excuse, but this was a gauntlet that they've just played these last four games.
Without question.
And I really believe they just weren't up for the game, even at home. Yeah. And when you see...
Were they up for the first quarter? Because they dominated the first quarter.
They sure did.
What happened at that point? Somebody said, guys are done now.
Well, maybe they got complacent there. We got down here. We'll get down here again. Well, maybe not. And, something told me that this was going to be a tough game when you see the bookies got them as a three-point underdog at home. So
but all the comments the Niners made, everything was validated, Domo, for the last 11 months. Brock Purdy was good. He wasn't phenomenal, but they scored 6 touchdowns in a row. It seemed like the Niners, all their comments from last year were exactly on the spot.
Yeah, you talk about them dominating the first quarter. I mean, they did in a sense. They held on to the ball and they got down in the red zone, and they scored 2 field goals out of it. I mean, that was kind of a bad omen right there. You just had a feeling that them not capitalizing and scoring touchdowns. They came into that game having scored 12 straight times, scoring touchdowns in the red zone. I mean, it's the first time that's happened in the NFL in several years. So I guess they were due to kind of come up short in the red zone. But, I mean, defensively, their biggest problem, I mean, yesterday, obviously, tackling was huge, but they can't get off the field on third down. They're the worst
team in the NFL.
They're the worst third down defense in the NFL. There's only been one team with a third down opponent success rate anywhere close to where theirs is that won a Super Bowl in the 2000s, and that was going. You got to go back to Peyton. Their offense was compensating for a lot of the problems on defense. I mean, they're averaging more going into yesterday. They were averaging slightly more points per game than they averaged last year when they went to the Super Bowl. Despite all the criticism that Brian Johnson has taken. But, I mean, they're trying, to Deshaun Desai's credit, he's blitzing more now. He's blitzing 6 and 7 players, rushers, and it's just not working. I mean, yesterday they blitzed 37.9% of the time.
I had it at 37.8.
When they were blitzing, Purdy was 10 for 11.
It's about time people give this kid's pretty good. He's not a system quarterback that just works with Kyle Shanahan's genius. He's a pretty damn good player. Right?
He's the perfect player for that system.
That's a
good way.
Right in the MVP conversation with Dak and Jalen today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he had, they have 3 games in a row where they lost.
Yeah.
And he was starting to have doubts about himself. And
could he win a
interceptions.
Game?
And
Kyle pulled him in and said, you just got to keep doing what you were doing before this. Get this thing out of your head. But
Kevin,
he played so well yesterday.
But your personal life, obviously, is this to the 98th power. But to me, my personal opinion of anybody is evidenced by what you do once you see the iceberg. You don't see the iceberg like Brock Purdy did last year until he got hurt against the Eagles. This year he's moving along. Then he saw the iceberg. They lost 3 games in a row. He bounced back pretty nicely. That tells me a lot about him.
No doubt about it. I thought it was interesting where they shut him down the first 2 series.
Yep.
3 and out. And they got a block ball, which helped. And he had him on his heels.
Yeah.
They did. And, you got to wonder. You got to wonder if we get 1 touchdown there, if it doesn't make a difference. When we get 2, I got to tell you, it would make a difference.
Yeah.
I got to bring 2 things into this and see how you feel about it. I've been like this my entire life. I was told by a coach when I was young, don't worry about the friggin' refs. They are who they are. They're going to do the job they're going to do. I don't want to hear on Twitter, I read every single time a negative play goes against the Eagles, they missed a holding call. That is such horsebleed. It's going to happen. Shut up. Don't talk about that. It has nothing to do with the game. That's number 1. Stop blaming the refs. Look in the mirror. That's who to blame. Number 2, Nick Sirianni getting ripped for not going for it on 4th and 2 in the third quarter. His own 32-yard line. Maybe it was the wrong call, but that's like saying, without the other deck chair on the Queen Mary, you wouldn't have hit the iceberg. We need to stop worrying about this little trivial stuff and start looking in the mirror at what matters, don't we, Domo?
Yeah, you listen to fans too much.
I don't listen to it. I read it. I mean, it is what it is. Plenty of people that aren't fans say that too.
Anybody who's nitpicking over yesterday's loss about not going for it on 4th and 2.
Correct. You're 100%.
I mean, they just had their heads hammered, handed to them.
Right.
I mean, there's no, you can't get beat more completely than that. It has nothing to do with coaching decisions. They just did not play well.
Here's a coaching decision that I will challenge Sirianni on. Why did you send Jalen Hurts back in the ball game when
that's a great question.
Was out of and for 2 things. Number 1, he could get hurt worse or get hurt again. Number 2, give the second string quarterback a little time to play under some pressure.
It's Sirianni's job. Listen, obviously Jalen Hurts wanted to go back in, show people he's okay, play again. It's Sirianni's job at that point. I don't care who the player is to say you're staying right here. Our number 2 is playing. I don't want to hear another word. Shut up. That may not be popular, but that's his job, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you know what he said today? He said, hey, we play till the end. Whoa. No, you don't. Not with the rest of the season on the line and a possible playoff berth.
All right, so Kevin, you played in the NFL for a while. You played with the Eagles. Teams weren't very good. You get whacked like this. You get blindsided to your own opinion, and you get whacked. And what did your coaches tell you? You played at many levels. You gotten beat many times by big counts. What's the best way to come back?
You don't even mention that I played with the New England Patriots.
You did play with the New England Patriots.
But I want to tell my audience out there, every time I get introduced at one of my motivational talks, it ends with, and he played with the New England Patriots. There's booze. So I've had to stop it by saying, hey, I understand what you're saying.
Not the Belichick Patriots.
I understand, but let me tell you something. I played with them before they started cheating, and then they get it.
But what did you do when you got whacked and you have a big game against the Cowboys coming up next week? What's the best way for an NFL coach or any kind of coach you've been with to turn a team from despondent to let's rock and roll next week?
It's not the coaches. You got to have the leaders on the team get in everybody's face, include his own, which they do.
Yeah.
And, where did I see that? I saw that in Miami. Nick Monicani, all 5'10" of him, had the whole defense like almost frozen when he would talk about what they had to do. They were carrying that winning streak from the unbeaten season all the way through and taking it serious during the 7 exhibition games we played.
Yeah.
We played the college all-stars. Here, I played in all 7 of those games. I only played in 10 games at Villanova, and we had a 14-game schedule coming after that. That was 2 years for me in the NFL in 1973. But, I think it's got to come from within the locker room.
Well, we'll talk about where it has to come from. Obviously, Dallas next week, a 3.5-point favorite. That's Vegas. Last week, thought the line was not kind to the Eagles with Vegas. Turned out it was not kind in the wrong way. The Eagles simply got whacked. We have Kevin Reilly talking about it here. He'll talk about his own personal struggles as well. You'll be pretty much impressed with Kevin's persona. It's amazing what he's done. Paul Domowitch, my co-host. I'm Paul Jolovitz. Chris Summer producing the show with Gus Barber. Back at the station, this is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff right here from the Great American Pub in Conshohocken. People enjoying the food, the drink, the atmosphere. Why don't you enjoy it? We'll come back right after this. Stay with us.
Since 1991, the Great American Pub in Conshohocken has been offering an authentic and memorable experience for guests looking to dine in or enjoy the bar and nightlife. Located at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken, the Great American Pub has all your craft beer selections and some of the best food options anywhere. While you're there trying their buffalo chicken spring rolls or Maryland crab cakes, enjoy your favorite sporting events on their numerous televisions surrounding the bar. Visit them at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken or learn more online at thegreatamericanpub.com.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard, is a great place to shop and eat with the following businesses ready to serve you: the AutoZone, PA Wine and Spirits, CVS Pharmacy, the Hair Covery, Nationwide Insurance, Liberty Auto Tags, Smile Culture Dental, the First National Bank and Trust Company of Newtown, Lee's Hoagie House, and Pat Dion Beverages.
The cooler weather has its pest problems such as spiders, bed bugs, roaches, and mice. These problems can be fixed easily and inexpensively with termite proofing and pest control. Call now at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Great American Pub in Conshohocken for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Domowitch and Paul Jolovitz.
We are back recapping the Eagles' loss to the Niners yesterday. Welcome back to the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show, live from the Great American Public Conshohocken. Don't forget you can watch the show live, guys, at WBCBSports.com and YouTube Live by searching WBCB Sports. Couple program reminders. We'll be here on the 18th, 2 weeks from now, for the Seattle game, day of with Ray Didinger. Our shows will also be the 26th of December, the 2nd of January, after Christmas and New Year's. Of course, the Eagles play on Christmas. And, guys, before we get back to the game yesterday, anything else, Damo, the NFL put up a huge middle finger to the fans by flexing the Eagle game to Monday night. And not just the Eagle fans, Seattle fans, Kansas City fans who have planned to go to New England for a Monday night game. Kansas City, New England, obviously not appealing. It's the first Monday night flex ever. Forget the teams. This is more about the fans, isn't it?
As far as who's getting screwed?
Yeah, as far as people make plans, hotel reservations,
obviously.
flights.
I mean, this league, this is how greedy they are. They wanted to flex the Thursday night games. They didn't have enough support, barely. For
Damo, for me and the rest of the audience, who's they? Who makes the
owners?
The owners.
The owners, yeah.
The owners.
But
they had plenty of support. I mean, they were all unanimous on flexing Monday night games.
Do they need another 39 cents, if you know what I mean?
I mean, that's not the way to keep loyal customers.
Yeah.
They know they're the 1,000-pound gorilla. It doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about the fans. What they're thinking about is we've got to make it more appetizing for ESPN to have fewer bad Monday night games. So the next time we negotiate a contract with them, they can't say, "Well, look at all the duds we had."
That's a good point.
We're not going to pay that kind of money.
So what trumps what? The ESPN contract or the 60,000 fans from all teams involved who get screwed on every kind of travel, whatever that they made?
Oh, for you talk, you're screwing the fans. I don't
think
forget
about
that
the fans,
stuff.
don't you?
Listen, there's people that aren't going to be able to make that game now because they have to go to work. They had another commitment, and that's just sad.
They're going to have to pay hundreds of more dollars even if they wanted to.
Oh, right. This is Christmas season. How hard is it to switch a flight on July 9th? This ain't that.
Jolly, they don't care about the fans.
They really don't.
I mean, that's just a fact.
Well, they don't care about the fans, but I want to talk to somebody. You guys are going to obviously understand this well. People listening, there are people that work with the Eagles that any media people know very well, and some people don't. And a lot of people were introduced yesterday to that guy, the guy I've seen on the sidelines before. You didn't know who he is. His name is Dom DeSandro. He's the Eagles head of security. He's very good friends with myself, and I'm sure Kevin and Damo as well. He injected himself into the game yesterday in a minor way, wound up becoming a major celebrity, got kicked out. Give me the whole 9 yards on this particular event.
He just passed the Santa Claus problem that we've had. He is now number one with. Wait till you see in 10 years how this gets out of. It'll be a left punch that knocks somebody down.
Green law,
At least I'll have this on video somewhere to disprove it. But
the linebacker made a normal tackle, and the Eagles security guy decided to.
Am I saying
kill
could
him.
only happen in Philly?
Yeah. Maybe
this kind of stuff.
Dom, could this only happen in Philly?
Well, not many other teams have a security chief as big as Dom. So.
But tell everybody what kind of guy Dom is. He's a wonderful person.
Yeah, he's a terrific guy, and he, he didn't cause the problem. He didn't do anything wrong.
He didn't body slam Kenny Gainwell.
I still don't know why he was ejected. I mean, that made no sense at all. Greenlaw needed, they should have just, you penalize them and nobody gets ejected. I don't even think Greenlaw should have been tossed, but
he got tossed because he made contact with Dom's face.
Yeah,
but I don't think nobody would have had a problem with it. He gets 15 yards next. Instead, it's a 17-minute delay or whatever it was. Come on.
Yeah, this has not been a good year for the officiating. So, and they kind of turned that into a major production. So.
All right, Kev, we're going to talk more about this game, but it would be cruel and inhuman to do a show without talking about your personal situation. You were a linebacker in the NFL. You wanted to work at Xerox and with a terrific motivational speaking career and all kinds of things. Not everybody has that kind of career, but not everybody has what happened to you happen either. Give everybody a little timeline of your life. It's fascinating.
Well, I was living the dream, as they say. I I used to go up to the Eagles games at Franklin Field with my father and my uncles. My dad had 6 season tickets. And every Sunday, one of my uncles would miss early Mass, and I'd get the call to get on my bike and get into the car. So I got to see a lot of games.
You have room for a bike in your car?
Well, I had to. My dad owned a liquor store. I'd just ride the bike up there because they wanted to go. Get on the bike and get up here now. And they would give somebody 5 minutes if they weren't there at 11 o'clock. We'd park at the Civic Center, get over, grab a hot dog, get the, get the magazine that's got all the names and numbers in it, which, by the way, you hardly get anymore. You know, you can get it online. You know, so anyway, I was an Eagle fan from way back when. You know, back in the day before there were 300 channels on TV and the internet, it wasn't unusual for any of us kids, but that grew up in the 50s and 60s, that while waiting for a car for a ride somewhere to practice or whatever, pick up a ball in the backyard and that 20 minutes be throwing it around and pretending. You know, and all actually announcing while you're pretending. I mean, and, pretending's another way of dreaming.
Now you're watching Madden do it online.
And, I just got, maybe someday, some way, I'd love to wear some kind of Philadelphia uniform. And one thing led to another. I got involved in weightlifting that put some extra weight and strength onto me because I wasn't that big physically from a pound standpoint. I was tall enough at 6'3", but I was always on the slender side. And, one thing led to another. I was fortunate I didn't get hurt playing in high school and college. Some of these guys, were great talent. But the one thing I found out was when I got down to Miami, how about 22 rookies, free agents, and draft choices? And Don Shula, in our first meeting that he had with the rookies on it was a St. Patrick's weekend, flew us all down. He didn't know our faces. He just knew your numbers. So he comes in and it's like, oh, my God, God himself has walked in. And he acted like he was God. Hey, here's what we're doing. We're going to test you out the next couple of days. And, hey, by the way, this is an uphill battle. He said, we've got 3 openings on the team. We've got 22 guys sitting here. Figure out the chances yourself. Now, tomorrow, and it was just like, so I'm not, one of the things you can't do if you went to Salesianum High School or Villanova is quit and say, well, we're going to make the team anyway. Chances. No, that just didn't. In like 10 days, we were down to 8 guys. They were leaving in the middle of the night. And by the way, the veterans did not treat you with any dignity. They were trying to hurt you, as a matter of fact, because they didn't want you to replace anybody that went to the Super Bowl.
What year are we talking about?
It's 1973. We're coming
they're
off
only
the
coming
70s.
off a 17-0 season.
Yeah. So anyway, it got down to a wide receiver, myself and Don Strock. And it was the Wednesday before the official first game of the season. So I get, it's down to the 3 of us.
Cut day,
but there's one more cut day, and it's Friday, so I don't count my chickens till they're hatched. I'm walking across the parking lot, and our defensive coordinator comes up to me, and he says, Coach Shula wants to see you in his office right now. Well, Bill Orangebarger was the defensive coordinator, and he came up to me like a ghost. They're usually the ones that release you, the coordinators. Shula doesn't do that. The head coach doesn't do it. So I'm going like, oh, my God. What rule did I break? Who said what? What happened? And I hope everybody's okay at home. So I go in there, and he's sitting behind his desk. And I said, hey, Coach, well, what's going on? He said, have a seat. I said, the only time I ever spoke, I said, I think I'll stand. I don't know how it came out of me. But anyway, he said, you are the unluckiest guy in the NFL this morning. He said, last night, I got a call from Joe Paterno. And he said he's got this guy's name is Bruce Bannon. He was a second-round draft pick by the Jets. He played defensive end for us at Penn State. And the Jets thought he could be good enough to be an inside linebacker because he had the size. He was 245 pounds, and he moved quickly and all that. And he said he thinks he'd be a very good backup for the 53 spot, which was Matheson's spot. That was his number. And he said, Kevin, you're just not big enough to play that spot. You could back up all 3 linebackers. We love you on special teams, but I don't have a backup for Matheson. So I'm going to have to go with that. My chin went to here. He gets out from behind the desk. He's listening. He says, yo, look at me. He said, you just didn't get you just didn't get dropped by the Pottstown Firebirds. He said, we won the Super Bowl, remember? He said, you're going to get picked up in 3 weeks. 3 weeks later, I got the opportunity to take a tryout with the Eagles. That's another story for another day, but I made that team, and you know what? That's the only second team I'd ever want to be with outside of the world champion Miami Dolphins.
That's an amazing story, and unfortunately later on you got cancer and had the left arm removed, and you live an amazing, exemplary life now, Damo. There are players that were better football players than Kevin, let's just be honest about it, who are in Canton and everywhere else, but there's nobody with a better story than Kevin. You agree?
Absolutely not, no. And the way he dealt with it is just, is an inspiration to a lot of people.
That's why a lot of people, when people call my show on WIP or something, say, we got destroyed yesterday, I can't go on. I'm like, shut up. You can't go on. What if something really bad happened to you? This is a football game.
Yeah.
We're talking about that football game. We're talking about the one next week against a little team from Texas named the Cowboys. How do the Eagles get back up quickly and go into Big D because the number one seed is at risk? Niners win a tiebreaker. Eagles are winning with the Cowboys, but you got to keep ahead of a tie to avoid a tiebreaker. We'll talk about that more as the Independence Blue Cross rolls on Monday Night Kickoff from the Great American Pub in Conshohocken. Thanks to Chuck, to Jerry, the guy, for making it all wonderful every week. Back right after this.
Since 1991, the Great American Pub in Conshohocken has been offering an authentic and memorable experience for guests looking to dine in or enjoy the bar and nightlife. Located at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken, the Great American Pub has all your craft beer selections and some of the best food options anywhere. While you're there trying their buffalo chicken spring rolls or Maryland crab cakes, enjoy your favorite sporting events on their numerous televisions surrounding the bar. Visit them at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken or learn more online at thegreatamericanpub.com.
Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard, is a great place to shop and eat with the following businesses ready to serve you: the AutoZone, PA Wine and Spirits, CVS Pharmacy, the Hair Cuttery, Nationwide Insurance, Liberty Auto Tags, Smile Culture Dental, the First National Bank and Trust Company of Newtown, Lee's Hoagie House, and Pat Dion Beverages.
I'm always striving to live my healthiest life, so I need a health plan that has my back. With Independence Blue Cross, I get access to the largest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free virtual doctor visits 24/7. Plus, with premiums as low as $0 per month, I can stay on top of my health and keep my budget in check. Independence has given me coverage I can count on, and they'll do the same for you. Explore your coverage options and enroll today at ibx.com.
Pests are a year-round problem, but it only seems to elevate in the fall. Thankfully, Termite Proofing and Pest Control can help you out. TPPC will help you get rid of household pests like spiders, bed bugs, roaches, and mice. TPPC only uses EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call them today at 215-639-5455. Again, that number, 215-639-5455 for Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Great American Pub in Conshohocken for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Domowitch and Paul Jolovitz.
All right, guys, the NFL has put an emphasis on concussions and trying to stop them, and it's important. Obviously, the health of the player is primary. Jalen Hurts left yesterday after a little bit of a tough hit, went off the field, went to the locker room, and was cleared in about 8.9 seconds. Now, I'm not a doctor. I have no idea what you're asked to do. I'm not criticizing anybody. But everybody I was with was amazed at the speed with which the lack of a concussion was diagnosed, and then Jalen was back out there. Forget whether he should have played or not. You ever heard somebody or seen somebody diagnosed that fast?
Yeah, you know what happened?
What happened?
The first question they asked him is, how many fingers do I have? And the doc had 3 up. And
they ask you how many you have, you say 10.
How many fingers how many fingers do I have up? on this hand. And Jalen said 4, and they said close enough.
We need some humor tonight, Domo. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I mean, I disagree that he should have gone. I wouldn't have put him back in since it was a lost cause. It didn't seem to make any. But I mean, I'm pretty sure, knowing Jalen's attitude and persona, that he basically said, "I'm going back in."
Yeah.
And Nick is not going to fight him on it. He was cleared. I don't think there was any doubt that he, that he didn't have a concussion. So, what are you going to do?
I think this is where Nick waffled, because he could have said, "You're not going back in. I'm the head coach.
Yeah.
And you're not going back in." Now, if that caused a little bit of a problem, the next day you take him aside and you said, "I don't want you to get hurt."
Yeah.
I was looking out for your safety.
He's the coach. He's the authority figure, period.
I don't want you to get hurt. You've worked too hard, and these other guys don't want you to get hurt, and you're a commodity that I have to protect, like everybody on this team. Vermeil would say, in a coaching position or any type of leadership, people don't care about how much you know until people know about how much you care. And in a situation like that, it's how much did I care as a coach to take him out, as bad as he wanted to go back in. He's just lucky he didn't get re-hurt.
That's very well said. And yesterday, obviously, one of the Eagles' main problems was tackling. Nobody's ever written a book called Tackling 49ers, Domo, but Kevin Reilly, our guest, did write a book called Tackling Life. Kev, where's it available? What's it about? And how can people obtain a copy if they'd like?
Well, it's online. We just went into. They can also send me on my website. They can go in and tell me they want a copy, and I'll sign it for them and send it to them. And
KevinReilly.com, I assume?
Yep. www.kreilly.com. You go in there and we'll work it out. Venmo, whatever.
R-E-I-L-L-Y.
R-E-I-L-L-Y.
Yep.
And Domo, thanks for bringing it up, because we just we went to the printer again and we.
Domo didn't bring it up. I brought it up. That's not fair.
Paul, it's okay.
I understand why
There we are. Yep.
Anyway,
you don't want to give him credit for anything.
Nope.
We've now printed 11,000 copies.
Wow.
And we're talking about people. Here's where I had no idea. I wrote the book about what I had. This is what brought me back after football injury, after my wife leaving me for another man, after me drinking too much. I've been 9 years sober since that, and I used the same plan. Put your boots on, buckle up, and get with it. I find out, this is a little bit from my psychology background, that we all really like to have comfort, and there's nothing wrong with comfort if it's managed.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something. If you don't manage comfort, it will manage you into bad situations. Before the pandemic, when I'm signing books, personalizing them, I'll pre-sign them, Kevin Reilly, but then I'll say, who do you want to make it out to? Make it out to Jolly, make it out to Domo, and I'll do that. I would get 1 out of 10 people saying, who do you want me to make it out to? And they'd say, can you make it out to my son or my granddaughter? They're struggling right now. And I say, yeah, tell me a little bit about it, because I'll put a note in there for them,
Nice.
After the pandemic, and I'm not kidding you, I've probably signed over 2,000 books this year. It's been a very good year.
Wow.
Okay? 3 out of 10 are asking for that same scenario. And it's the 18 to 26-year-olds that went through this pandemic that got real comfortable, and they're having a hard time finding themselves.
Wow. Domo, it's an amazing story. Kevin's an amazing guest. He talked about putting your boots back on. What's the best way that the Eagles collectively, obviously, do they sign Zach Ertz? They signed Shaq Leonard today. They got to regroup as a team. They got Dallas staring them in the face. Nobody's feeling sorry about the Eagles. What's the best way to put the boots back on and give their best effort?
Well, first of all, and this isn't going to be hard for them because it was so awful, an ugly win. You put Sunday behind you. My guess is they didn't spend a lot of time looking at the film today.
There were a couple,
if at all.
Yeah, there were a couple publications I saw where they asked the guys about that, and they said it's already back. Lost it already. And that's the thing to do.
Yeah, and Nick is good at managing that kind of thing. So I don't think that'll be a problem. Now they get it. I mean, more so than getting mentally back for Dallas. They've got to play better, and I mean they're going to get Goddard back this week, which I think is going to be huge. But I don't know how. I don't know what you do with that defense. You hope Shaq Leonard can play maybe right away and make some sort of difference.
Play more aggressive, maybe. Kevin mentioned the blitz.
He's not really I don't know how much use he's going to be as a blitzer.
Not him, the team.
Yeah, I mean they've been blitzing and it's not working.
And they're not getting there.
Yeah, they just need to. I mean, what they need is that. Their pass rush, which had 70 sacks last year. They're getting a lot of pressures, but they're not getting there, and they're not. Quarterbacks are getting the ball out when they've gone against mobile quarterbacks, like the first time they played Dak, or when they played Mahomes. They're getting out and extending plays. They just got to do things better.
Well, obviously, Dak, the first time, the Cowboys came within a hair of the chin from winning. I mean, you got to run the ball more. It's a commitment. You got Parsons and their defense. Deron Bland, to me, I would vote for him for Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL right now. 5 pick sixes. I mean, sacks don't put points on the board. Pick sixes do. Got a lot of people to worry about it with the Cowboys, and it's got to be quick, Tom. It really has to be. Bouncing back is what defines people in general, and certainly teams.
I'm not hopeful that they're going to win Sunday because sweeping the Cowboys is next to impossible, and now they're having to play this game on the road. But my fear going forward, the Cowboys have some games they're probably going to lose. So I do not think, and the Eagles after Sunday shouldn't lose again. They should beat Seattle. It'll be tough, but they should run the table and go, with 4 wins.
But the Niners can run the table and take the 1 seed away.
The Niners are the team that, by losing Sunday, it's looking like the Niners will end up as the first seed. Yep. And the advantage of that first seed for the Eagles was you could let San Francisco and Dallas in the divisional round. Not, they would have to fight to get to you. They'd be playing. The Eagles would be playing Detroit or somebody. Now, if they're not the number 1 seed, they're going to have to play probably Dallas again a third time in the playoffs, and that makes it hard to.
One of the things about the blitzing, and this is just from me watching, when we're not getting there is one thing, and we're getting the hurry, but they're always dumping it off to somebody in a flat or somebody across the middle, and we must have our backs to these people because then they run for the first down.
Or touchdown.
Or touchdown, whatever.
Yeah, well, I watched one of those yesterday, when I was watching the tape this morning. I don't know if it was Debo. I mean, he circles out and just, he crosses like right near the line of scrimmage, and their linebackers are so far back that he gets it and just, disappears. I mean, they're chasing him down the sideline, and he's got a 33-yard gain. So,
all right, well, with that all said, let's ask a very simple question right now. We're going to talk more in the last segment, but I'm going to ask this question right now. Right now, December 4th, 2023, with all the injuries, everything factored in, the schedule, the buys, the records, who's a better football team, San Francisco or the Eagles, Kevin?
Right now, if I had to play for my life, I would say the 49ers.
Yeah.
Hard not to say that right now, Domo, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you look at San Francisco, you don't see any weaknesses. I mean, you'd have to look really hard. You look at the Eagles, you don't have to look very hard. Their defense. So, your best hope is that somebody gets hurt, that Debo gets hurt again, because that's a team that hasn't, they do not use a lot of. There's no rotation a whole lot. They go with one running back. Their wide receivers, they don't go very deep.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't think running backs are very important. He needs to watch a Niner game or two.
Yeah.
See what McCaffrey can give you.
He may end up being the MVP.
That is just one unbelievable athlete.
Yeah.
How he doesn't get hurt at that size.
He did get hurt plenty of times, pulled his hamstring in Carolina.
He did.
Not impact injuries, but pulled muscles.
But, he gets banged around, and he is so quick. He's hard to stop. I mean, he is a nightmare to handle.
He's perfect for that. I mean, he's perfect for Kyle Shanahan's
He never
offense.
comes out either.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys on this question, because he is a fabulous player, and the Eagles' offensive line wasn't great yesterday. It was okay. They didn't really run block. Is football, Kevin or Domo, whoever wants to answer this first is welcome, is football at the NFL level more about your greatest strength or your worst weakness? It's a team game. You attack those coordinators. What's more important, great strengths or lack of weaknesses, Kevin?
The greater strengths. I'll take greater strengths.
Yeah.
You can play those up.
Yeah. I mean, you good teams find a way to minimize their weaknesses and maximize their strengths.
All right, we're going to try to maximize the last 15 minutes of this program. We enjoy it. Great American Pub in Conshohocken lets us do this every week. Next week we'll be here. Our guest will be Mike Mamula, and we will take a look around the NFL. Will the Eagles sign Zach Ertz? We'll talk about that. What else is going on? Monday night game tonight. Not a thriller, but Cincinnati at Jacksonville. They're playing guys the Jaguars. The Jaguars have been thrown out of the NFL for mispronunciation. We're back with the Monday Night Kickoff right after this. Stay with us, folks.
Since 1991, the Great American Pub in Conshohocken has been offering an authentic and for guests looking to dine in or enjoy the bar and nightlife. Located at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken, the Great American Pub has all your craft beer selections and some of the best food options anywhere. While you're there trying their buffalo chicken spring rolls or Maryland crab cakes, enjoy your favorite sporting events on their numerous televisions surrounding the bar. Visit them at 123 Fayette Street in Conshohocken or learn more online at thegreatamericanpub.com.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
Dion Swear, located at South Oxford Valley Road and South Olds Boulevard, is a great place to shop and eat with the following businesses ready to serve you: the AutoZone, PA Wine and Spirits, CVS Pharmacy, the Hair Covery, Nationwide Insurance, Liberty Auto Tags, Smile Culture Dental, the First National Bank and Trust Company of Newtown, Lee's Hoagie House, and Pat Dion Beverages.
The cooler weather has its pest problems such as spiders, bed bugs, roaches, and mice. These problems can be fixed easily and inexpensively with termite proofing and pest control. Call now at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Great American Pub in Conshohocken for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Domowitch and Paul Jolovitz.
All righty, Deshaun Jackson retired as an Eagle this week. He won't be available next week, but they're going to have some guys available against the Dallas Cowboys, who they beat in their first encounter close here. Haven't swept them in a while. Paul Domowitch, my co-host, Kevin Reilly, is our guest tonight. This week, you look at Zach Ertz, Paul. He played with the Eagles before, obviously not under Nick Sirianni.
Because they don't have it's not like they're stacked with really good tight ends behind.
And, one of the things that you said, 11 personnel for those out there, that means that there's one tight end, one running back.
3 wide
receivers. So, it's like they always the kid that it was 10.5 when Zach was in there because he was more like a slot receiver than a tight end.
He was not a blocker.
He was not a blocker. And but, boy, he was really good at getting open.
They have Julio Jones in that role already. Is there room for Zach?
Julio Jones doesn't have a role. I mean, they're playing 4 wide receivers now because they have to. Julio, he's going to the Hall of Fame, but he doesn't have much left in the tank.
No.
Is Zach going to the Hall of Fame, Kevin?
That's a good question. I think he's a candidate. And this is another reason why I think they wouldn't bring him back. You say, well, how about, he'll be a good backup in case Goddard gets hurt again. No, he won't, because he doesn't do what Goddard does on blocking.
Yeah.
And, and I'm not so sure that anybody does.
Fabulous blocker, yep.
Fabulous blocker.
It's going to be interesting because this is a very sentimental team. I mean, they've stayed with people that maybe they shouldn't have when they've gotten older because of what they've contributed to the team.
Look at Brandon Graham.
Brandon Graham's a perfect example. Although, I mean, Brandon's kind of giving him something still, but he played more snaps yesterday than he's played all season. But
do with him, Shaq Leonard signed, going to play on Sunday. Take a look at the NFL. What happened yesterday? What's the first thing that hits you? KC lost to Green Bay. That was a little bit of a surprise. Pat Mahomes' first visit to Lambeau.
You may not believe this, but I can just tell you that the level of play in the NFL, there's not a big drop-off, believe it or not. Talent-wise, there's guys that when they want to play, they can upset somebody.
You're talking about from the best team to the worst team.
Yeah. And so you got this 17-game schedule, and some of them, are not, I want to say, they're not grudge matches. You have Dallas Eagles. That's going to be a grudge match every time, no matter
your biggest rivalry?
Yeah.
Is this the biggest game of the year? Was yesterday the biggest game of the year for the Eagles?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And anyway, I think it's just so hard sometimes to get the entire team moving at a high level through 17 games. And you find it now with the Chiefs. You've got people with 3-4 losses now that are still looking to get into the playoffs, and they got possibility they can. It's just so hard to know. And then, sometimes when you got to play this Thursday night, Saturday night, Monday night thing, you end up missing a couple days, and, that can affect you, too, from a preparation standpoint.
Well, there's going to be plenty of – Black Monday is going to have plenty of action this year. Who's the most endangered coach out there? Obviously, Frank Reich already gone.
Well, he was, let's see, who else? I'll tell you what, this you're going to surprise you, but if Pittsburgh doesn't do better in the next couple games.
Tomlin is completely safe. He never had a losing season, ever.
He hasn't had a playoff, kind of season either in a long while. And I'll tell you, I just know some Pittsburgh fans, it's starting to rumble up there a little bit.
Dom, well, the Rooneys are not known for they've changed 3 coaches in the last 188 years. To me, Mike Tomlin has, I hate to disagree with our guest, literally a 0.0 chance of getting fired. Kenny Pickett, nothing. It just doesn't, no way. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time seeing that one. My money would be on, and sadly, because I like the guy, Ron Rivera, I think is
he would be my next choice.
Walking.
I like the guy too.
Yeah, but
I got to know him when he was with the Eagles. Great guy.
Yeah, Josh Harris is not going to keep him around. I'm surprised that they didn't. I thought they would probably fire him like now, and give Eric Bieniemy a chance. The fact that they haven't tells me that they have no interest in Eric Bieniemy either. So that's going to be a house cleaning.
Well, we'll see. A lot of stuff going on in the NFL. Meanwhile, awards going to be given out. We're not quite to award season, not. Somebody said to me yesterday, you don't vote after 10 weeks. Did Jalen Hurts blow it yesterday? No, he didn't blow it. He just played a bad game. If he comes back and they run the table, he could get it. But it's about quarterbacks, guys, and it's Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy are all about even right now. But there's a guy in Miami who could become the first receiver to get 2,000 yards. He's a game breaker. He's a game changer.
You don't think Kansas City misses him, do you?
Nah, not much at all. Because they have a terrible move by Kansas City. Brett Veach letting him go. Does he have a shot at the MVP, Damo? I don't really care about MVPs, but he's having an unbelievable season.
Yeah, he's in the. I mean, right now he's in the mix with the quarterbacks, with Christian McCaffrey. I mean, this is going to be as difficult an MVP vote as there's been in a while because there's just a lot of deserving candidates at several different positions.
Kev, who do you vote for right now, and who do you think could be voting for or will win down the road? Jalen? Does he have it in him to come back? How resilient
if he plays
he is.
strong, I'll tell you, though, don't rule out McCaffrey.
Yeah.
if he stays healthy, he is. I mean, the things that he means to a team is incredible.
30 touchdowns in 26 games, Damo.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Anybody going down to Dallas, and you're going to South Dakota, Damo, you'll be here, right?
I'll be on my couch watching the game.
Sunday night, guys. Sunday night football. And then a Monday nighter. And the flex is ridiculous. But we'll be back next week with Mike Mamula. We've had Kevin Reilly this week. You're one of my favorites, Kevin. Love you. Thanks so much for being with us, and best of luck down the road. Merry Christmas. Happy holiday season.
Same to you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Damo, always have you every week. You're the absolute best. Give ourselves 5 there, and let's hope we have a more pleasant outcome to talk about next Monday night.
You're the best, too, Jolly. And, yes, I hope we're not talking about a 42-19 repeat.
Against the Cowboys, no less. Can't lose 2 in a row. Well, thanks so much. Chris Ermer's done a great job producing this program. Gus Barber, despite being a Michigan fan, has done a great job back at the station. We thank everybody for listening, for watching. We thank the Department of Environmental Protection in Pennsylvania for coming out and supporting us tonight. This has been the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff from right here at the Great American Pub in Conshohocken. We'll do the same thing at 6 o'clock next Monday night. Until then, go Eagles. Have a great week and happy holidays, everybody.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at 107.3 FM, W29.